kid, old school cap. Eddie got opinions and a live stream chat. Used to walk the halls with the burned CD stack. Now he hits go live and the room fades black. Comment wars flare in the scrolling bar. He's breaking down takes on who we are. Then a thought hits quick like a locker slam. What if I just play the songs that raised this man? Donnie, spin that track. Eddie's going back. 96 posters on a bedroom wall. All that teen angst in a one-car garage. Now it's echoing through a comment hall. Donnie, spin that track. Tail on the floor, laid back. From the marches to the throwback jams. Same voice, same hands, just a different plan. Camera light on, but the mood turns soft. He says, we'll argue later, I'm clocking out, boss. Pulls up a playlist from a dusty brain drawer. First drum hit, and he's 16.
What's up, everybody? How the hell is everybody doing? Y'all having a good day? It's Wednesday. I got to go to Costco today with me and Donnie and get a whole bunch of goodies, you know, stuff like that. Anyways, let's get started. Let's get it all started here. Excuse me. All right, so this was last night. I don't know if you've seen this or not today. It's probably been all over today. But somebody sprayed Ilhan Omar at her press event yesterday. And as I was watching this yesterday, you know, we'll watch it real quick and then we'll talk about it.
And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
At first I was like, holy shit, she just took off her and chased after whatever did something to her.
I don't know.
Oh my god. Oh my god, he sprayed something on her.
I need a napkin to know nothing.
No, we'll go.
No, we will continue.
No. Ilhan, you need to go get checked. No,
We will continue this. We're not gonna get away with
need
it.
to go get checked. No, you don't know what he.
And
Okay, so I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, okay, some dude just jumped up and sprayed something on Ilhan Omar. And I was like, you know, it seems kind of weird though. Right? It just seems kind of weird. So I started watching it some more and more. And just stuff that came up today, you know, so you watch this.
Secretary Kristi Noem must resign.
So, right after she says this, she looks right at the guy. And at first I was like, how the fuck did this guy get front row seats? Right? I've been to many of these kind of events. It's not easy to get a front row seat, and I'm on a freaking mobility scooter, you know? So I was like, that's kind of weird. But if you watch it, she's going to look up and look right at the guy, and then it happens. Like, was he just sitting there saying, you know what, I'm going to wait. If she looks at me, then I'm going to spray her. Watch.
Or
So right after this, she's going to look right about this way, and then she's going to look right at him.
impeachment.
Right here. See? And it wasn't like she's reading, and she's just looking around calmly, and then she does one of these real quick. At the guy who just attacks her. Now the second thing, he gets her in the shirt. It does look put on, Paul, huh? And I'm thinking, you know, okay. He gets her in the shirt, so that looks kind of weird. But he doesn't get her in the face. Now, if I hated somebody that much that I wanted to spray him with something, I'm aiming for right here. I'm aiming for right here where it's the most impactful, right? And so I was like, you know, this just doesn't seem right so far. It just doesn't seem right so far. And then here, so we'll find the other part of the video. She actually goes up and she goes like this to him. And it's like, interesting. Now that at first I'm like, okay, she actually, you know, she was gonna kick the shit out of this dude. But then I was thinking, you know, but now after I keep hearing it and everything seems kind of fishy. It just seems way too fishy. Okay, I'll give you a treat, dude. Jeez Louise, Donnie wants his treat. I don't know, what do you guys think about this? What do you guys think? Because we're gonna talk, I have a lot more video on this. Panda, Go get your treat, sweetheart. There's yours, but this is Panda, so don't beg me for hers. Because Donnie's on a diet. But yeah, I don't know. This seems pretty sketchy. This seems pretty sketchy to me, Paul. But who knows? We'll see. We got more stuff coming out about it. And in fact, I have more stuff on this show alone coming out about it. In fact, the next couple of clips, I think, are from this exact same spot. This might show the different angle. Yeah, so this is the different... So this is the other angle. And also, we found out it's just, it's apple cider. It's apple cider. It's a weird smell.
Impeachment.
But what?
Impeachment.
See how all the rest of the time she's looking around like this, you know, speaking, you know, and to the forefathers and you know, and these people, and you know, it just doesn't make sense. Watch it.
Impeachment.
See, that was like a nod. That was more of a nod, if you ask me. That was more of a nod. I think that was a nod. That looked like a nod to me. Which we're going to talk about that somewhere here in well, you know, sometime today. Sometime today. It's hard to trust, hard to believe. What's this one? Okay, so now it says breaking the man who sprayed Ilhan Omar with some sort of liquid has been identified as 55-year-old Anthony J. Kazmierczak from Minneapolis. Let's watch this. Let's see what's going on here.
And round of applause for Congresswoman Omar's staff who's here.
He looks like he's almost drunk or something, though.
So, hi everyone, I'm Hennepin. And round of applause for Congresswoman Omar's staff who's here. Hi everyone.
He's acting kind of weird. He's definitely acting kind of weird. I don't know if this is staged or not. On my BS meter is pretty high. My BS meter's pretty freaking high right here, but the FBI is looking into it, which we'll talk about later on. The FBI is looking into it for sure. All right, holy crap. The media was just forced to air this Patriot Iowa voter confirming President Trump is doing exactly what he voted for. Let's see what this is.
You make of what's happening in Minnesota?
Just let them be there and do their job, period. Leave ICE alone. Getting in front of people's faces and doing this to ICE is total horse hockey, in my opinion.
Horse hockey.
Donald Trump is doing what the people elected him to do. Get rid of the illegal immigration. That's it.
You make of what's happening in Minnesota?
Just
horse hockey. You got to get rid of that horse hockey. That is the middle of the United States. You know, it's the way they talk. That's the way they talk. You know I love Scott Jennings clips. Scott Jennings always has the best clips. Let's see what's going on here with Scott Jennings. We can make it bigger. There we go.
I would just caution all these people. You cannot let an angry mob nullify federal law in a jurisdiction.
Hold on. What, Gra? Is it on your end scrolling? What do you mean scrolling? Let me look on my Rumble here. Rumble. I gotta find my... I don't know what you mean by scrolling.
Same voice, same hands, just a different plan.
Hold on.
Camera light on, but the mood turns soft. He says, well, our...
Let me see what you mean by scrolling.
Same voice, same...
No, it looks fine to me, Gra. It looks fine to me, buddy. Let me hit play on this. See what happens.
I would just caution all these people. You cannot let an angry mob nullify federal law in a jurisdiction. If
You
they
mean
do
the
that,
American
if they-
people?
if they
Is that what
do
the
that,
angry mob is? The
if-
American people.
These people in Minneapolis
But it's
are an
working
angry
fine.
mob, whether you like it or not. They
Okay.
don't like the fact that the president is enforcing long-standing federal immigration
Does
law.
that mean they should be
That's
shot
what
on the
they-
street,
that's-
Scott?
No,
That's the question that we're talking about, right?
The debate is about what the president's going to do next. And if you were to let them win and you were to be run out of town, what do you think would happen in L.A., Chicago, New York, all over the country? You're
So
either
you
going
don't
to
think what
choose to
happened to Alex
enforce the
Peretti
law
was
or you're not.
problematic? I mean,
Do I think it's problematic? Of course it's problematic.
Okay, was it wrong?
Anytime
Like,
someone
how far are you
dies,
willing to go?
anytime someone dies, it's problematic. But what they're asking for
Is it wrong?
is for federal law
it wrong?
enforcement to be
Okay,
sent
cool.
out of town.
Is it wrong?
And that no federal laws
Is
be
it
enforced.
wrong?
Was what happened to Alex Peretti on the street wrong?
Was it wrong?
Was it wrong?
I'm waiting for an investigation, which I fully support. I don't know what the circumstances were.
If
I
it
don't
was a
like seeing
Democratic
it.
president in the White House, would you be able
Would
to
I
say
want an
it was
investigation?
wrong?
Would I want an Of course I would. I don't like that people have died. I don't like this chaos.
They're
But
trying
I
to
also
catch
don't
him.
like the idea that we're just going to say,
He's
well,
too
in
smart
this
for
one
that.
little territory, we're not going to enforce federal
He's way
laws
too
anymore.
smart
That
for
doesn't
that.
strike me as a good idea for the president right now. So he's got a tricky situation. It's very complex, but being run out of town by an angry mob to me is not an option.
Nope. If you let the government get run out of town by an angry mob, then the government is no longer in control. You can't let that happen. You can't let that happen at all. All right, New York Police Department arrests protesters occupying Hilton lobby. Officers began removing activists who refused to leave Manhattan Hotel, allegedly housing ICE agents. This is just getting out of hand.
Know that the Hilton hosts ICE agents. This one has hosted ICE agents before. Yay! So walk in knowing that.
Loading right now. Doing well tonight. All things considered.
You know, this is... Think about this. Remember when I went to Washington, D.C., and I was on... And what's the dumbass was there? Ant. Defender of Ants was there. And he's like, Eddie, why are you friends with these people? They're friends with Oreo Express. And I was like, so? He's like, but you don't like Oreo Express. I'm like, yeah. But I don't care what other people, I don't tell my friends who they can hang out with. Just because I don't like somebody doesn't mean somebody else can't like them. And this is the mentality that they're doing right here. Oh my God. You're letting ICE stay at your hotels? You're making money off of ICE? Oh no, you're such an asshole. It's just stupid. Right, Paul? Defender of Ants, he's not around anymore? I don't know, we can go see let's see, Defender of Ants. Wasn't that what his YouTube channel was, Defender of Ants? He's probably in jail or fucking doped out on drugs somewhere. That'll be my guess. Either jail or on drugs somewhere. Defender of Ants. See if we can find him. Here's Defender of Ants. Well, what's his 3 weeks ago, he made a video. What the fuck?
I had it that the state was pepper sprayed. I was like,
why is he in all black?
Case.
Why is he just he's in a dark room? Let's see if that's the most recent video. The latest videos from 3 years away. He's deleted a whole bunch of his video, I guess. That's weird. 3 years old. Because he mostly goes live, huh? Oh, one day ago. Here we go. He's still going live, Graw. He's still in the van. Where is he? Playing some dumbass music. Let's see if we can figure out where he is. So it's somewhere where there's no snow right now. Oh, wait. Grand Street? He's in Oakland. He's in Oakland, maybe. Let me see. I think he's in Oakland. Those are California license plates. So this is Grand Street. He might be in Oakland. Let me look at the different streets. We might be able to figure out where he is. What street is this? Grand Street, then Hope Street. It kind of looks like Oakland, but it could be LA too, I mean. Fixed story repair, cell phone repair. Let's look that up. Fixed story cell phone repair. Fixed story cell phone. Oh, he's in San Jose. I do. Wait, no. Downtown LA. Downtown LA. Big story. Let's see what it looks like. He's in LA. Yeah, he's down in LA. Okay. That's where he is. He's facing good jail charges, and that's a motorhome he's in. I thought it was like a van or something. Go Metro. Parkview. Okay, yeah, it's looking more like LA. Oh, he's trying to fuck with the little whatchamacallit thingamajigger. Yeah, that's LA for sure now. But he's not doing anything political, it looks like. The Great Shuffle, Magic. What the hell? Now you guys got me curious about what this dumbass is doing.
Some of that, I know there was $10 on PayPal. Money to Nora.
Anyways, okay.
But I wasn't.
I'm done giving this douchebag time. He has an ankle monitor on his leg? Really? Paul's got all the info on him. Alright, here we go. Let's see what's next on our list. So, breaking news, the CCP-linked leftist riot funder, Neville Singham, has been coming in and out of America and could face criminal proceedings soon. So this is from Paulina Luna, the beautiful from Florida.
We are trying to serve him in an effort to bring him into Congress to testify that he's been quietly sneaking in and out of this country. And so, yes, if you're looking for who's funding these, it is him, and the Treasury Department does have the authority to freeze his assets.
All right, so when he flies into the country and then flies back to Beijing, we don't have any notice, the CIA doesn't have, or the DOJ doesn't have any notice what flight he's on, if it's private, what airport he's landing at. We can't serve him when he lands?
I think that they could get that information, but that would require them to open up a criminal investigation. But again, I think that they have grounds to do so. I've also sent letters to the Department of Justice to try to hit him with a FARA violation because he's not a registered foreign agent for China. But again, that would require a criminal aspect. But either which way, he's not receiving, and he will not, in my opinion, accept receipt of the subpoena, which means we'll be able to hold him in contempt of Congress. So that would then initiate the criminal proceedings.
Are you even allowed to frolic around China with pink shirts like that?
Frolic. Frolic. Oh my gosh. Oh, wait.
Donald Trump, don't trust China. China is asshole.
All right, so this is the mayor of St. Louis Park, Minnesota, Nadia Mohammed. So once again, another Somali is mayor of this little tiny suburb, who was born in Somalia, is now begging for money and pushing for an eviction moratorium for illegals. Let's see what she's saying here.
She is not going. And that is so similar to a lot of Minnesotans. This is how bad things are getting here in Minnesota.
She sounds like AOC, except like she's 10 years old, doesn't she?
My mom. Say hi, Hoyo. Hi. So here's the thing, like many Minnesotans, my mom does not want to leave her house out of fear of what's to happen if she does leave. I could literally glue her passport to her forehead and she still will not go. Unless I am taking her from point A to point B, she is not going. And that is so similar to a lot of Minnesotans, whether they're documented or not, who are too afraid to leave their house. And because they're too afraid.
You notice how she just said they're similar to a lot of Minnesotans, whether they are documented or not. So is she trying to say her mom's not documented?
they're not able to go to work, meaning as the first of the month is coming up, they don't have rent money, right? So my mom has the privilege not to worry about that because her kids will take care of that. And a lot of neighbors do not have that same privilege to be able to do that or to say that. So I am asking you guys to step up for your neighbors. We should all be asking for an eviction moratorium, which puts a stop to eviction, the legal process of evictions.
Oh, so let's screw over all the landlords again like we did during COVID. And everybody lost their businesses or had to go out of business or lost their own homes because they had to pay for other people to live, but they were able to lose their home. Why do they all have the little garbage pail? Kids fat face? That's just the way they
Also look to
I don't know,
see if your city does a 30-day pre-eviction notice, which means that landlords have to give you 30 days notice before they start the eviction process, right?
I've been watching a lot of these eviction court cases, because in the morning when I'm looking through X and I watch court cases, and a lot of them turn out to be eviction court cases. So that is called the CARE Act. So the CARE Act means you have to give 30 days notice before you can evict somebody, which I don't know. I thought that was everywhere because I had to do that here in California when I evicted somebody off of my property.
And then last but not least, look to your local organizations to see who does rental assistance and then consider donating to them. If you live in St. Louis Park, consider donating to STEP. They do a wonderful job in rental assistance and doing rental assistance. So please look out for each other and take care of each other.
Now, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about these rental assistance programs? Because I do watch a lot of these court cases in the morning. A lot of them have to deal with eviction. They'll get rental assistance, but it only lasts they can only do it for so long, right? They give you like a month or a couple months. But do you think it actually helps these people? It may give them a place to live for another month or two, but then they're going to get evicted eventually. Because they're not paying. If they're not paying their bills now, what makes you think they're going to pay their bills in 2 months? Or you see, like there's these people that are on Section 8, and they only have to pay this. I watched this one lady; she paid $200 a month for Section 8, because Section 8 paid the rest of her rent, and she was still 6 months behind. The problem is, we keep giving so much stuff to people that they think they deserve it nowadays. And it's just bullshit. These people don't deserve shit. The people that, I think everything should be like unemployment. When you get fired from your job or laid off, or it's more laid off. I think if you get fired, you can't get unemployment. But when you get laid off, you get a certain percentage of the money that you put in. It's like an insurance policy. Same thing with Social Security. You only get a certain amount of money based on what you put into the program. But if you're on welfare or WIC, you get the same money whether you put in it or not. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Yeah, they never get ahead no matter what. And it's our fault. We got to help them. Especially landlords. I feel bad for the landlords because the landlords are the one that has to take the hit. It's awful when you were seeing landlords saying, but Your Honor, I have to pay my mortgage, and I'm losing my house because I can't pay my mortgage because they're not paying their rent. Because the mortgage companies are allowed to take your money and take your property even in a moratorium. It's just the whole system is just awful. Okay, so look at this one. Trish Reagan says Ilhan Omar was reportedly sprayed in the face tonight, and she runs after the attacker as though she's about to take him out. This is not normal behavior, not even close. Which I agreed on that part. I thought that was pretty strange how that was going on. Thought that was very strange. But we got more of her because this is stuff from last night. Once we get to today's stuff, you're gonna see that the FBI is looking into it. And Gross says they never get ahead. They never get ahead. So when I was younger, my first job was at like 11 years old. I got a newspaper route, right? And the girl that gave me the newspaper route didn't give me all the information. It was just awful. I didn't know who I was delivering to, and I was ashamed to ask, and so that just didn't go out very well for me. But then, like half a year later or so, my parents brought my brother his restaurant. And it was 50-50. So I started having to work at the restaurant every day. I worked my ass off at the restaurant when I wasn't in school. And then I started working at Taco Bell, and then I started working at Thrifty's as an ice cream scooper. And I got my first apartment, and I was afraid to turn on the heater because I was like, what if I can't afford to pay this bill? You know? So when you say they never get ahead, I eventually did get ahead. But I had a spending problem, and I like shopping. I mean, you guys still know this today. I love shopping. But I would always make sure all my bills were paid first, you know? And it's funny, I was making $100 and something thousand a year as a plumber. And I'd pay my bills and I'd be broke because I'd go to the casino, I'd go gambling, or I'd go to the bar and drink my money away. And I don't do that anymore. Even though there is some guy in here that keeps sending me text messages trying to get me to gamble more. So I ignore those text messages because I don't want to get into gambling again. And but anyways, it was funny though. The minute I got on Social Security, I couldn't work. I went from $150,000 a year to $15,000 a year, and all my bills were still paid. It seemed like my bills were paid better when I was on Social Security. So I don't know. Different people. It's different for different people, I guess, right? But I've been homeless. I've been homeless twice. I have. And my parents were rich. They always taught me, we're not going to help you. If you get yourself in a predicament, you get yourself out of it. That's the way my parents taught me. All right, 65 anti-ICE protesters have been arrested in New York City for storming the Hilton lobby. This is better footage of them getting arrested, so let's watch this.
I'm being arrested because Hilton is housing ICE. They are profiting off of ICE.
No, you're getting arrested because you broke into their property and were protesting them. It's their company. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
They are profiting off of our neighbors being murdered and tortured. They are making money on murder and torture.
Hilton is housing the modern day Gestapo. While people are being murdered on the street and kidnapped, they are resting peacefully up there. We must stand up.
And you guys ever hear me say, well, you know what? If a liberal wants to watch my show or do this or buy products off of me, like I sell mugs on I sell mugs on eBay, right? Mugs and plates and stuff like. In fact, I sold one the other day that was worth $50. And sometimes I'll sell stuff that I've got some NAACP stuff. I've got some Black Lives Matter stuff that I sold. You know what I say? I said their money is good as everybody else's money. That's the way I think of it. Their money is as good as everybody else's money. If I can make some money off of a liberal, fuck yeah, I'm gonna do it. Fuck yeah. I don't get why they're so upset. Arrested for that 70s porn star mustache. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely for the 70s porn star mustache. All these videos still are from last night, folks, just so you know, while we were playing country music. And if you didn't watch us during our country music song, it was actually really good. I know only like 10 songs at most in country music. So it was basically everybody else's list last night. Everybody got to play their songs, and it all fit in because everybody likes country. So they would only play country songs. Except there was a couple exceptions here and there, but, Anyways. So, Justin, Representative Anna Paulina Luna filed a motion to subpoena Marxist billionaire who fled to China. We saw this link already, but it looks like it's a different version of it. But, we don't need to see it again. And by the way, girl, I did text somebody last night and said, hey, you should come to the show. I got no response, so I don't know. And I honestly don't know why this person would be mad at me or think I was mad at them. You know me, girl. If I get upset with you, I'm 10 minutes later and back to normal. All right, so this kick streamer Waxiest, which we were watching the other night, appeared in a video with a black guy speaking out after being violently attacked while trying to cover the Minneapolis riots. He's got a shiner, all right.
How's my hand? Not good, bro. My hand's like the worst. It's like the worst part of it, man.
I've never heard of this guy
broken.
before.
I don't have fucking health insurance or anything, but we're all busted up. We're gonna get back out and keep filming, though.
See, and here's the difference between Americans, guys. This is the difference between Americans. Mexicans, no matter what, if they don't have insurance, what do? They go to the emergency room because they know the emergency room has to help them no matter what. Not this guy. I don't know if he's a patriot or if he's a Democrat or what. But he's like, well, I don't have insurance, so I'm not going to go to the doctor because he can't afford to pay it on his own. He could legally go to the emergency room and they'll pay for, or they'll take him in, they'll bill him for it. You know, right? They'll bill him for it. But still, at least they'll get treated.
On April 14th. Enter now at wildoneBike.com. That's wildoneBike.com.
Yeah, I don't know if they're taking my kick partner away or anything, man. It'd be pretty fucked up if they did.
I don't know what happened.
Those people attacked me in my car.
Are they gonna show it?
I wasn't even trying to stream it, bro. But on my teeth, I still got on my teeth, man. Chilling.
Who is this guy?
Yeah, I think I broke a bone or something. Something's fucked up with it because I
can
can still
definitely see
move
it.
it and shit, but it hurts. It's fucked up.
You dislocated it, maybe.
I could have had them arrested, bro, but I told them to come up. I told them to pull up and fight because they're coward fucks. These people try to get me killed in the middle of like 5,000 protesters. This is like a 5-viewer streamer pulling up to get views, bro. He's telling everybody in the crowd I'm a Nazi, white supremacist for no fucking reason, trying to get me killed. He's in my chat. I said, dude, if you wanna try to get me killed,
big?
you two are fucking cowards. I'll beat the fuck out of you both 2-on-1. They pull up.
Is he a
They pull
big-time
up and they
streamer?
won't even
He
fight
is?
a fair
Okay.
2v1, bro. They have to jump me in my car. Those two are fucking coward pussies. And yeah, we got some hits in, bro. We got hit. It is what it is. I told them to come fight me, so I'm not gonna press charges. But if they want to pull up to a protest and try to get me killed like that again, I will be pressing charges.
Let's see if
I'm
we
gonna
can
try
find
to keep
him.
filming these protests.
Let's see if we can find out, because I have Kick. I actually stream to Kick sometimes. What? My music shows I stream to Kick. I'm gonna stream my video games to Kick. I'm guessing he'll be the same. Matt Morse. Let's see if we can find him this way. Nope. Oh, channels. Nope. Let's go back to X. And let's go here and let's see if we can find him. I want to see who this guy is. I'm curious. Because Portland Andy had him on. Is this him? That doesn't look like him, is it? I'll follow him. I'm gonna follow the dude. I'll follow him.
Protest, bro, but it's like now people are just saying I'm a Nazi, I'm a white supremacist, all this shit for whatever reason. I'm not. I'm Native American. How could I be a white supremacist? You know what I mean? What's the name of the people that assaulted me? It really doesn't matter. Better just not to give those guys any attention or anything. They're
Oh wait,
complete coward
Waxiest. That's
pussy.
it. Waxiest. Maybe we can see the video. What he's talking about.
Pero rimaba ok.
Waxiest. Here he is. Yeah, this is him. Videos. There are no videos. Clips. 6 days ago. Let's see what this is.
Fuck you. What do you mean, don't do that?
How do you like it if I do this? Is this cool with you? Is that all right?
Yeah, don't touch me, motherfucker. Fuck you. The fuck did I do? I wasn't even in your camera shot, you faggot.
Dude, what is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you?
I'm trying to do my job and you're standing
Okay,
right
I'm
here
not
in front
I'm
of
not getting in the way of it. Do your job, you fucking pussy. The fuck did I do?
me. Well, right now, you're being a little rude.
Okay, because you came up and touched me for no reason. Do
I
your
mean,
job.
he is kind of being a little rude, but I don't know the whole situation here. You know, I'm gonna have to add this guy onto my Kick. How do you add? Follow. There we go. We'll have to check. I'll have to do some research on this guy. Check him out a little bit. Anyways, let's keep on going. We got a lot of new stuff to do. And tonight we're doing documentaries on my 9 o'clock show, guys. We're going to do some documentaries tonight. I'm gonna do some more like electrical engineering type stuff, or engineering stuff today. So new close-up footage of the man who attacked Ilhan Omar. I mean, doesn't the dude look kind of out of sorts? He drank that whole bottle of Fiji. He can afford Fiji water unless they're giving out Fiji water at the event.
And round up.
I don't know. There's something fishy about this. There's something 100% fishy about this, and I hope they figure it out. A lot of people are saying that this is they did this to get the fraud team off of her. And this is my last clip from last night. And it says protesters walking at the pickup truck and grabbing pre-printed signs. Well, we know they're funded. Let's see.
Look at this. Here goes a group of professional activists renting a U-Haul, getting signs out of their trucks. This is not organic. These are the same printed signs. And now they're heading to the federal courthouse.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Do you know who's organizing this?
The PSL, Party for Socialism.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to sign?
I'm just going to observe. Thank you, though.
Tuck in, meet your
Join the
neighbors, 'cause
socialist
again,
movement.
Hey, remember, we're not doing this by ourselves, right?
Which group is organizing this?
Party for Socialism and Liberation. We've been out here for a few years.
How do you join? Like, if you want to also donate?
It's pretty easy. You can look it up, pslweb.org.
Got it. Is there like a Minnesota or Minneapolis?
pslweb.org. Let's look this place up. pslweb.org, I think is what he said. Nope. PSL. By the way, girl, I got a question for you. Here we go. pslweb.org. I thought that's what I typed. So your Native American stuff, in town we have we have 2 different tribes in our area. And I was driving the other day and there's like, hey, we got a new healthcare center coming for Native Americans. So I'm wondering, is that only for their tribe, or if somebody from a different, like, so you're Choctaw, could a Choctaw Native American go to the Indian Health Center here in California? I'm just curious. All right, let's learn about PSL. Read our program. The struggle for socialism. The Party for Socialist Liberation exists to carry out the struggles for socialism. I'm just trying to see if there's anything. Like, let's see. Don't open for ICE. English below. So they put it in Spanish for all tribes. Okay. I was just curious about that. I was like, I wonder if Grog came to visit me, if he could go, and if he got sick, he could go there. Now I know. Good to know. All right, the FBI needs to launch an investigation into this incident. If this incident is fake, so this is from Brianna Morello, which she works for. I was gonna say Storage Wars. She works for InfoWars, right? So we're gonna start talking a lot more about this Ilhan Omar incident, which this is today's news now. It says new footage from after the Ilhan Omar liquid attack. Oh, this is funny. Whoever did this, AI, I don't like, but sometimes AI is good. That shit's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right, what's next? So President Trump says Ilhan Omar probably sprayed herself after the attack. During an anti-ICE event in Minneapolis, a guy rushed Ilhan Omar and hit her with some nasty smelling liquid, which probably smelled better than what she smells like, right? From a syringe. Cops grabbed him and now he's facing charges. President Trump said, without even watching the clip, jumped in anyway and said she probably had herself sprayed and called her a fraud. This all came just hours after the week after he went after Somali immigrants again and took another shot at Ilhan Omar. What do you guys think? Do you think it was fake? We got a whole bunch more coming on it because this was like the big talk of the day today while I was at the store. Students at the Free State High School in Kansas say that the school not only encouraged their anti-ICE protest, but even handed out hand warmers for the walkout. These teachers should all be in trouble. As a teacher, you're there to make sure kids are in school and learning, and which they're not even learning as it is. So Gross says they built each tribe for services. My nephew developed a software for national tribe cross-referencing. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Gra. Like I was watching, I watched those commercials where now that you're a new homeowner, don't be like your parents. And this guy was they were looking down a manhole and they're like, "Hey, what's the wiring look like down there?" And they pulled him away. That's me. I want to know that shit. If I got a chance to question some worker down there, and then they started making fun of both me and Grok because they did the dad joke one, where they're at the where you pick up your car, the valet. Like, man, it was a joke like I would have said, hey, this is the wrong car. I had the red convertible. It's like, leave us alone.
And there was no alcohol.
Do you guys go to the school over here?
Yeah.
Did you participate in the little protest and walk around?
Yeah.
I had a couple. Did you mind answering a couple questions?
Sure.
I just do an investigative journalism.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I've seen everybody doing the protest. Looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
Did the school, they said they had an assembly or something beforehand? Or?
No, they didn't have an assembly as far as I was aware. They
Just a word to gather.
They sent out like an announcement, I think, that nobody would be like
get in trouble.
Yeah.
But so it was okay to go ahead and do that.
And I think a couple teachers went along to like supervise.
Oh, yeah, just to make sure everything went good.
Which was sweet, yeah.
Cool.
They brought like little hand warmers and stuff. And
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah.
Yep, cool. And so you guys did the march and stuff. And,
yeah.
Yeah, it looked really good. So I appreciate you talking to me.
Yeah,
you guys have a great day.
You too.
I like how that guy did that. He was just talking nicely with them, just asking questions. That's, you get more honey you catch more flies with honey with honey than vinegar, right? Is that how it goes? I don't know. Okay, wow. It was just confirmed that under the Trump accounts, by age 18, you can have $303,800 and $1.1 million by the age of 28 with no contributions at all. This is a genius idea from President Trump. So if you don't know what President Trump accounts are, is President Trump has started these already. And what they do is they set up a bank account for kids. The day you're born, and I think it's $1,000. You put in $1,000 the day you're born, and it just sits in the stock market. It's like a stock market fund, and it just keeps gaining and gaining money with the stock market. Great idea. So let's listen to this.
You kind of touch on this. By age 18, right, you could have $303,000. By age 28, it's more than $1 million. If you do the maximum contributions, if you give no contributions, you're still shy of $6,000, which ain't nothing, and then $18,000 by age 28. President Bush 43 pushed this idea about 25 years. You kind of
That's pretty good, right? And now, and parents can put in $5,000 a year. Okay, girl, that's what you can do. So today when they were talking about this, so Steak and Shake, which is a fast food restaurant, they have now stated that any of their employees that has a child, they will put $1,000 into this Trump account for them. And I believe Nicki Minaj, I'm still kind of wary about Nicki Minaj coming into this political assortment and stuff like that. She said that she will donate money to put into these funds for kids. She's going to match so many donations or something. We'll see that in a minute. We'll see that in a minute as well. I still don't know enough about Nicki Minaj, and I gotta say, honestly, I thought she was one of these rappers that was saying "fuck Trump" all the time, and then she swapped over, but I guess apparently not. So I got to do some more research about Nicki Minaj to see, what my thoughts are on her still. Because if I also thought she was the one that did that WAP song, but she's not. She's not. Okay, so this is more on Luna. Claims that we saw this one already. Okay, we already saw this one. What do you guys think about Nicki Minaj? I'm not into her music by any means, but if she's gonna be good for our country. Okay, here's what I was talking about eye contact. So look at this. Ilhan Omar made eye contact with the guy right before he stood up and sprayed her. Interesting. And not only that, how did this guy get this front row seat? How do you get that front row seat? So let's watch your eyes.
Must
watch
resign
it. She looks at him
or face
like
impeachment.
A nod.
Must resign.
And once again, like I've been saying, she's reading her script, and she's kind of, if you notice, she's going back like this, and then she's like real slowly, like, "Hey everybody, how you doing today?" And I'm here for the people of Minneapolis, and then she does it, and then she gets sprayed. It definitely looks fake. It definitely looks fake, if you ask me. You've never seen Nikki until today? Well, then you're like me. You don't really have an opinion on her yet. Doom, 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 doom. Okay, so that's the same one we just looked at. Did I do that twice in a row? Yep, I messed up. I did it twice in a row. I mean, we could look up some of her songs. Darn it. It's not natural to run towards the threat.
And you know that
she's gonna say, yeah, but in Somalia we do. Nicki Minaj songs. Let's see what songs she sings. Tuka Taka, Side to Side, Barbie World, Bang Bang, Tusa, Super Freaky Girl, Everybody. Let's just look at what Pink Friday girls are. Oh, it's not on YouTube, so we can't play it. Okay. Alright, so some leftist dude went nuts during Secretary Rubio's Senate testimony today. Rubio casually drops, there's going to be a couple more of these. Let's watch it.
suspend. You know the drill. Off to jail.
That's a war crime.
That's a one-year ban from the committee. Anyone who is a persistent violator will be banned for 3 years. So don't know whether the guy falls in that category. Looks like it. I hope after 3 years he'll find a more productive means of employment. Secretary Rubio,
more productive means of employment.
A week, you seem to have a more robust following than most of our witnesses that come before us. But anyway,
there'll be a couple more. So thank you for stopping the clock. But I appreciate it. So, and I know there's a.
I actually,
you know the drill. Off to jail.
So we have a lot of Marco Rubio stuff right now.
From the committee, anyone who is a persistent violator will be banned for 3 years. So don't know whether the guy falls in that category.
We have a lot of Marco Rubio stuff coming up from his hearing today. All right, so the alleged Ilhan Omar sprayer, Andy Kazmiriak, seems to have some far left gender pronoun children. Interesting. What the fuck is that a boy or a girl? I can't even tell if that's a dude or a chick. How do you find yourself a girlfriend or a boyfriend nowadays if you can't tell if somebody's fucking a girl or a dude? I don't know. Asking for a friend. All right, here's Nicki Minaj. Pledges cash support to Trump accounts for Barb's babies. Whatever that means. So she's actually putting in money into this, which is a good thing, you know? And I think she's the one that started liking President Trump, right? Because he helped out Christians in some African country. And she was like, President Trump's the only one sticking up for these Christians in this African country. All right, Oregon, however you want to say it. Oregon caught with $800,000 invalid voter registrations, now forced to delete them. Judicial Watch sued, and now Oregon is scrubbing 800,000 ineligible names from its voter rolls. By the way, speaking of this, we do have some information about the FBI and Atlanta, Georgia voter fraud stuff coming up. This will be a part of nearly 6 million outdated or invalid registrations removed so far. How many? 6 million. Jeez.
We received word from Oregon that after a Judicial Watch lawsuit was filed to clean up the rolls in Oregon, they removed 800,000 names, or about to remove 800,000 names. At least 160,000 will be removed immediately, with the rest to be removed at a future time. And all of this resulted, obviously, from our federal lawsuit to clean up the rolls. So that means our prior litigation and legal actions that caused the removal of 5 million names, dirty names from the rolls, is now nearly, those numbers are now up to nearly 6 million names from the rolls, 5.8 million to be specific. We received word.
Wow. Interesting. They're still going to try and steal the election. No matter what we do, they're going to try and steal the election, folks. You should know that. They can't win without cheating. So no one is asking you to enforce federal immigration laws, Mayor Fry. We're just asking you to honor your ICE detainers and let them know when criminal illegals are in your jail. So surprisingly, Mayor Jacob Fry just stated that Minneapolis does not and will not enforce federal immigration laws. This is after having a good conversation with him. Could somebody in his inner sanctum please explain that this statement is very serious violation of the law and that he's now playing with fire? Will anyone? I sure hope so, Gra. I sure hope so. I hope so. I don't know. I honestly don't know, though. All right, let's see what's up next. Yeah. Bring back insane asylums. What the fuck? Where is this?
Well, it's like, you live all year long in your little box, and you come here for 1 week. You can kind of live out crazy fantasy, and you can get away with it, and no one cares. And what happens in Key West stays here.
My husband and I were
This is in Key West.
Have you been before? Oh, cool.
Well, it's like, you live all year long.
Ugh. And that lady did not have clothing on. She had all she had was paint on her boobs. Ugh. All right, breaking news. Secretary Marco Rubio just put a masterclass on Democrat senators. Let's watch it.
About that mission remains ongoing, and that is the counter-narcotic mission that we continue to carry out as controversial as it may be. You may not all be fans of it, obviously, but it is happening in the Eastern Pacific, and it is also happening in the Caribbean Basin. The problem is, the good news is there aren't a lot of drug boats moving in the Caribbean Basin anymore, and that's what we had briefed Congress upon. This specific mission that you've talked about, one of the reasons why you rehearse it is to see if it's even feasible to basically go to the president and say, is this something that's even an option on the table? The truth of the matter is that this mission could not have been briefed to Congress because it wasn't even in the realm of possible until very late in December, when all of our efforts to negotiate with Maduro had failed and the president was finally presented these options and made these decisions. It was also a trigger-based operation. It may never have happened. It required a number of factors to all align at the right place at the right time in a very limited window. And it wasn't even clear if it was ever going to be possible. There's also the aspect which I do not control, and that is deference to the Department of War on operational security. Despite the fact that we had kept this quite constrained, the truth of the matter is that this was leaked. We now know it was leaked by a contractor, the Department of War, that had it been published would have endangered the lives of people and/or would have probably canceled the ability to carry out the mission. So this is a real tension, and one that I'm doing the best I can to try to manage within the constraints of two things: operational security and also decisions being made. There are multiple contingencies for events all over the world, including some that none of us think were ever going to come to fruition. And in this particular case, one of the reasons why you rehearse these things in advance is to know whether it's even possible. Is this even doable? And what are the risks associated with doing? So you can present options to the president, who ultimately makes these decisions. In the case of reimagining NATO, it most certainly has to be reimagined. And the reason why it has to be reimagined is not because its purpose is reimagined. Its capabilities have to be reimagined. Let me give you as a point of example. There's a lot of talk about security guarantees. And it's something that there's general agreement about now with the case of Ukraine. But those security guarantees basically involve the deployment of a handful of European troops, primarily French in the UK, and then a U.S. backstop. But in fact, the security guarantee is the U.S. backstop. It is not and I'm not diminishing the fact that some countries in Europe are willing to place troops in a post-war Ukraine. What I'm pointing out is that is irrelevant without the U.S. backstop. And the reason why you need such a strong U.S. backstop is because our allies and our partners have not invested enough in their own defense capabilities over the last 20 or 30 years. Now, hopefully that's going to change. Hopefully that is changing. And in some cases and in some particular countries, it's already changed. But this is a fact that we cannot ignore. NATO is going to be stronger if our allies are more capable, especially, and here's the reality, whether we want to accept it or not, we have interests all over the world. We have interests in the Middle East, we have interests in the Western Hemisphere, and we most certainly have interests in the Indo-Pacific. A number of you have already pointed out that China is the chief challenge. We can't have the same soldiers or the same ships in both Europe and in the Indo-Pacific. We have to pick. No matter how many ships we build, no matter how many capabilities we grow, we're going to have to make these adjustments. And the stronger our partners are in NATO, the more flexibility the United States will have to secure our interests in different parts of the world. That's not an abandonment of NATO. That is a reality of the 21st century and the world that's changing now. In the case of Greenland, I'll say we're in a good place right now. We had excellent meetings with the Secretary General of NATO. In fact, even as I speak to you now, there'll be some technical level meetings between us and our partners in Greenland and Denmark on this issue. And I think we have in place a process that's going to bring us to a good outcome for everybody. The president's interest on Greenland has been clear. It's a national security interest. It's a long-standing interest that predate this administration. It's one that our allies acknowledge is real.
Sorry, I had to get the pups water. Their bowl was empty. I had to go fill them up some water. All right, I'm back. Whew. All right. They got water. I'll probably need to give them some more in a minute, too. Here we go. Let's do Scott Jennings again.
Well, most of the people who have been deported or have left the country have done so voluntarily, and many of them have gotten a check, just the way he is describing. I think a little over 2 million have self-deported, and only 600 and something thousand have gone out.
Okay, so then why do we need these people on the street doing what they're doing in Minneapolis?
Because they can't get them in the jails. In virtually every other place in America, you have cooperation. You go into the jail, you get an administrative transfer. It takes virtually no people to do that. In Minneapolis, they won't let them in the jails, and they won't let the local police engage if they're under attack as federal law enforcement. So you have to send extra agents to guard the agents that you send.
I'm sorry? You think that because there's a policy like that in the jail in Minneapolis, that the agents that did what they did to Alex Peretti were justified? That's the connection that you're making?
I did not say that. But I'm telling you that there should be a full investigation, which is exactly what the president said. Well, most of the people who have been deported or have left the country have done so voluntarily, and many of them have got.
I think Paul Briegel is still over in YouTube, I believe. All right, Justin, Steak and Shake. So, you know, I've only had their burger once, but the one time I had it, they were freaking delicious. So, Justin, Steak and Shake is pledging a $1,000 match to the Trump accounts for their employees. That's how you run an American First business. Steak and Shake has benefited from our country's prosperity, and we are committed to giving back to our communities and our country. If you guys have a Steak and Shake near you, I'd highly recommend that you go try it if you can. You know, support the businesses supporting America. So here's Clickbait Benny and Senator Tuberville. Let's see what's going on here.
Yeah, you know, you brought up Venezuela and you brought up the election theft. That's my love language, Senator. It's a bit of a passion project for us here, and we think that the Maduro black bagging into the back of a chopper in the middle of the night that had something to do with potentially uncovering the election fraud. And President Trump's been posting a lot about Venezuelan election theft technology after black bagging Nicolas Maduro. Do you think that he's going to sing like a canary? Do you think that he's the man who knows where all the bodies are buried when it comes to this topic?
I doubt it.
I don't think there's any doubt. You know, that now this didn't start under Maduro. It started under Hugo Chavez, the president before that, because he got recalled in an election, and he came up with this system of machines that he was able to put out within his country and got himself elected. And then when that happened, he said, heck, we'll just do this internationally. So they started selling them all over the world. And that's how we ended up with them here. And now they're all controlled by a tech group in Venezuela. But I would hope that he would be singing, as you said, like a canary and telling people what's really going on. I would think that this is a lot of why President Trump went in there, because he knows the world cannot survive with crooks running the voting systems, not just in our country, but all over the world. And we cannot allow these machines to continue on. We have to have paper ballots, one-day voting.
Is it,
and everybody has to show up with an ID. If we don't do that, it's going to be over. We cannot survive like this. And again, to get this passed, what do we need to do? It's passed in the House. We're going to have to bust a filibuster. We're going to have to bust a filibuster, and then we're going to have to get some of these rhinos to vote with us. I don't know whether we get 51, even if we bust a filibuster and actually do something for the country. you know, I hate to say that, but I've seen things work up here for 6 years, and we've got a lot of people that just do not believe in President Trump. They don't like him, and they want him gone, and they feel like this is a way they can get rid of him.
What a joke. What a joke. Bunch of rhinos is right. And that's the difference, folks. That's the difference. Democrats, they all stick together. They all stick together, or they primary them out. They all stick together. Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't Republicans doing the exact same thing? All right, here's some more Marco Rubio going after
followed
the Senate.
Yet it was
leaders
being
today.
rehearsed. If there was time to practice, there was time to consult. And consulting with Congress is not just some high-minded principle, not some abstract thing, not a nice to have. It's a got to have.
That's what we had briefed Congress upon. This specific mission that you've talked about, one of the reasons why you rehearse it is to see if it's even feasible. To basically go to the president and say, is this something that's even an option on the table? The truth of the matter is that this mission could not have been briefed to Congress because it wasn't even in the realm of possible until very late in December, when all of our efforts to negotiate with Maduro had failed, and the president was finally presented these options and made these decisions. It was also a trigger-based operation. It may never have happened. It required
I don't know how we're going to do that,
a number of
I don't know
factors
how
to
we
all
can do
align
that.
at the right place at the right time in a very limited window. And it wasn't even clear if it was ever going to be possible. There's also the aspect which I do not control, and that is deference to the Department of War on operational security. Despite the fact that we had kept this quite constrained, the truth of the matter is that this was leaked. We now know it was leaked by a contractor, the Department of War, that had it been published would have endangered the lives of people and/or would have probably canceled the ability to carry out the mission. So this is a real tension, and one that I'm doing the best I can to try to manage within the constraints of two things: operational security and also decisions being made. There are multiple contingencies for events all over the world, including some that none of us think were ever going to come to fruition. And in this particular case, one of the reasons why you rehearse these things in advance is to know whether it's even possible. Is this even doable? And what are the risks associated with doing, so you can present options to the president who ultimately makes these decisions. In the case of reimagining NATO, it most certainly has to be reimagined. And the reason why it has to be reimagined is not because its purpose is reimagined. Its capabilities have to be reimagined. Let me give you as a point of example. There's a lot of talk about security guarantees. And it's something that there's general agreement about now with the case of Ukraine. But those security guarantees basically involve the deployment of a handful of European troops, primarily French in the UK, and then a U.S. backstop. But in fact, the security guarantee is the U.S. backstop. It is not and I'm not diminishing the fact that some countries in Europe are willing to place troops in a post-war Ukraine. What I'm pointing out is that is irrelevant without the U.S. backstop. And the reason why you need such a strong U.S. backstop is because our allies and our partners have not invested enough in their own defense capabilities over the last 20 or 30 years. Now, hopefully that's going to change. Hopefully that is changing. And in some cases and in some particular countries, it's already changed. But this is a fact that we cannot ignore. NATO is going to be stronger if our allies are more capable, especially, and here's the reality, whether we want to accept it or not, we have interests all over the world. We have interests in the Middle East, we have interests in the Western Hemisphere, and we most certainly have interests in the Indo-Pacific. A number of you have already pointed out that China is the chief challenge. We can't have the same soldiers or the same ships in both Europe and in the Indo-Pacific. We have to pick. No matter how many ships we build, no matter how many capabilities we grow, we're going to have to make these adjustments. And the stronger our partners are in NATO, the more flexibility the United States will have to secure our interests in different parts of the world. That's not an abandonment of NATO. That is a reality of the 21st century and the world that's changing now. In the case of Greenland, I'll say we're in a good place right now. We had excellent meetings with the Secretary General of NATO. In fact, even as I speak to you now, there'll be some technical level meetings between us and our partners in Greenland and Denmark on this issue. And I think we have in place a process that's going to bring us to a good outcome for everybody. The president's interest on Greenland has been clear. It's a national security interest. It's a long-standing interest that predates this administration. It's one that our allies acknowledge is real. I think we're going to get something positive done. We're going to begin that process in a very professional, straightforward way. It begins today, and it'll be a regular process. We're going to try to do it in a way that isn't like a media circus every time these conversations happen, because we think that creates more flexibility on both sides to arrive at a positive outcome. And I think we're going to get there. And I thought it was noteworthy and important that despite your concerns, the president at his speech in Davos made very clear that the United States was not going to use force or military force in Greenland. So I think we're going to
Unless
wind up
we
in a
have
good place. We got a little bit of work to do, but I think we're going to
Unless
wind
we
up in a
have
good
to.
place. And I think you'll hear the same from our colleagues in Europe very shortly.
Mr. Secretary, the Gang of Eight has never leaked.
Senator,
It is critical that you consult with Congress. For us to be safe, our allies have to trust us. And for this committee to do our work, we have to trust you.
Blah, 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 blah. All right, so more Marco Rubio. This time he's going after Rand Paul.
What it is, and let's vote on these things. But I think we're in violation of both the spirit and the law of the Constitution by bombing a capital, blockading a country, and removing elected officials. And we certainly wouldn't tolerate it, nor would I if someone did it to us.
But we didn't remove an elected official.
Donnie?
We removed someone who was not elected, and it was actually an indicted drug trafficker in the United States. And their system...
Our laws, indicted under our laws. Look, Bolsonaro says that Da Silva is not really the president of Brazil. Our president said Biden wasn't really the president. Hillary Clinton said in 2016 Trump wasn't the president. So you have these arguments, and I agree with you. It probably was, and most likely was, most assuredly was a bad election. He wasn't really elected. But at the same time, if that's our predicate, and you don't have to come to us because it's a drug bust, we're just removing somebody, you can see where it leads to, and it leads to chaos. And that's why we have rules like the Constitution, so we don't get so far out there that presidents can do whatever they want. It is this check and balance. And I would argue for 70 years we've been going the wrong way. It isn't just this president, but it's a debate that I think is worth having.
Fuck you, Rand Paul. Fuck you, Rand Paul. He's a huge rhino. All right, Kevin O'Leary, rich political analyst, Tiffany Cross. This should be good. I love Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. He's a good dude.
Furthermore, there's a reason why we have not seen a resurgence of the Proud Boys. And that is because I believe a lot of them are likely made ICE officers. Again, I've said this on the show before. I've not seen any deep dive reporting into who these...
Okay, real quick. I am no longer a Proud Boy. I'm going to say that straight up front. But the reason why you're not seeing a whole bunch of Proud Boys out and about there now is because you fucking Democrats arrested all of them and scared the shit out of them. You guys arrested them for doing nothing, right? You sent Enrique to jail for 22 fucking years when he wasn't even at the fucking Capitol. Of course you're not going to see them. They're probably still there, and they're probably still working in the background, but they're not going to show themselves anymore, probably, because of you fucking assholes.
But they certainly adopt a lot of the ideology, a lot of the tactics, a lot of the violent tactics, a lot of the wearing masks, and it sounds a lot like their founder, what they initially put out, been kidnapped.
Did you just say ICE officers are militia?
Yes, have you not been paying attention?
Yeah, I
they
think
certainly
you're
mirror
stretching
the
a little
Gestapo.
bit. You know, that's very.
I don't think I'm stretching anything. I think we have seen,
That's
what we
what-
have not seen,
You know,
what we have
this
not
is
seen are
actually a
gang members committing
this is a
violence. What we
federal
have
and
seen
state
are
mandate.
ICE agents.
Wait a minute. Did she just say we haven't seen gang members committing acts of violence? You're just delusional.
You're saying that based, you're just making a supposition here. There's no concrete evidence.
You got to be careful. That's way
there was some supports. There was some
supports. Serving the government.
We have seen white supremacist tattoos.
Risking their lives, serving the government.
Risking their
and you're
lives,
calling
they're taking lives,
You're calling
Kevin.
them Proud Boy militia. Did you say that?
I did not call them Proud Boy militia, but I think it's disgraceful that you're sitting here. I'm actually not. But I think that there are white supremacist tattoos on their
White supremacist federal officers.
Yeah, white supremacist federal officers.
Like, where are you going with this? Why would you say that?
I'm going with my eyes, ears, and logic. There have been multiple ICE agents who have white
I know you're talking about
tattoos.
working for the federal government, carrying out a mandate, and they're white supremacists?
Yes, and you're a member of a cult, so I don't expect you to have logic.
Whoa.
I think the generalizations here are a bit of an overreach.
Yeah, and let's not make personal attacks.
Tom Homan.
Wow, did CNN just now saying, wait, you took that a little too far? No way. No, but they let her say it. It's kind of like the lawyers, you know, they say something in court that they're not supposed to say, and then oh, I'm sorry, Judge, I know, I won't do it again. But the point was still made, and the jurors still heard it. That's why they do this shit. That's exactly why they do this stuff. Because while they may have to recant it, it still got put out there. And you know, here's another thing, guys. if a newspaper or any kind of publication like CNN or something like that makes a mistake, you have to put in a correction. But the correction can be on any page and it can be very super small. I think whenever a news outlet makes a mistake and they get caught, I think it needs to be 3 times bigger than in the actual claim of their mistake. So if it was a 3-minute segment that she just made a mistake on, well, they got to do a 9-minute segment on it. I so wish I had the ability to become like a congressman or something like that so I could put in some bills. I have a lot of bills that I would fucking put into. Oh, wait, that's the one we just saw. Did I do it twice? Yeah, that's the same exact one. Okay. Just from a different person. Okay, so Nicki Minaj just said, I'm President Trump's #1 fan, I think, on live. Watch this.
Well, I don't know what to say, but I will say that
there's Kevin O'Leary again.
I am probably the president's #1 fan. And that's not going to change. And the hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more. And it's going to motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let them get away with bullying him and, you know, the smear campaigns. It's not going to work, okay? He has a lot of force behind him, and God is protecting him. Amen.
That's what I was saying, right, Goofy? I agree.
Well, I don't know what.
And you know, let's look up what this TrumpAccounts.org is. TrumpAccounts.gov. Trump accounts jumpstart the American dream. We're building long-term financial security for millions of children by creating tax-advantaged investment accounts for U.S. citizens under the age of 18. Katie's Trump account. Your child has received $1,000 from the U.S. Department of Treasury. So their balance right now is $1,143. They have 11 shares of NVIDIA, Caterpillar, half a share, Home Depot, 0.8 shares, Tesla, 0.2 shares. Wow. Look at that. I didn't know you could buy point shares. I did not know that. I thought that was only in like Bitcoin and stuff like that. All right, color revolution. Signalgate proves Alex Pretty wasn't a peaceful protester. CNN's latest reporting reveals Pretty was detained by federal authorities the week before suffering a broken rib. Notably, he wasn't carrying his gun as he was a week earlier. Notably, he wasn't carrying his as a week later. Why did I say earlier? Let's read this article. This guy writes great articles. I really enjoy Amuse. I'm concerned about Trump accounts. Who is managing them? I don't know that right now, Goofy. I don't. That is something you might want to be concerned about. Yeah, but I don't know. So what does it mean to call someone a protester? The term carries moral weight. It suggests expressive conduct, a public statement, and a basic commitment to nonviolence. It implies distance from force, from coercion, and from direct interference with lawful state action. When officials, media, and activists described Alex Pretty as a protester, they were not merely describing where he stood. They were making a claim about what he was doing, what he intended, and how his death should be understood. Gross says their stocks increase on average 7% per year. So the accumulating evidence no longer supports that description. Based on what is now known, it is far from accurate to say that Alex Pretty functioned as an active participant in the Ice Watch insurgency in Minnesota. He was not a bystander. He was not merely present. He was trained, coordinated, armed, and operational. He provided actionable intelligence. He accepted assignments. He moved towards enforcement scenes in response to real-time direction. And on the day of his death, he inserted himself physically into a confrontation with federal officers while carrying a loaded firearm and additional magazines. In violation of Minnesota law, by the way, and after being warned by his own parents not to engage officers because of his anger. His parents says he has known anger issues. To see this clearly, it helps to distinguish protest from direct action. Protest expresses opposition. Direct action seeks to obstruct, protect. Protest communicates. Direct action intervenes. Protest attempts to persuade an audience. Direct action attempts to impose cost. Ice Watch was not organized around persuasion. It was organized around disruption. Its purpose was to locate, track, and interfere with immigration enforcement operations in real time. Alex Pretty attended Ice Watch training. He participated in signal groups used to coordinate these operations. He did not merely observe these channels. He contributed to them. He provided location updates. He responded to calls for support. He moved to spot ICE vehicles. He accepted assignments to go into enforcement scenes. That is not expressive dissent. That is operational participation. According to CNN, Pretty was involved in an encounter with ICE a week earlier. Reportedly, Pretty was tackled by federal agents as he attempted to stop them from detaining an illegal alien. He claims that he suffered a broken rib before he was eventually released without charges. At the time, he was carrying his ID, but he wasn't carrying his pistol, despite having a concealed carry permit. The next time he encountered police, he was armed. On the day he was killed, Pretty did not stumble into a chaotic situation. He went to it. He was armed, and according to the narrative being advanced, he carried a Sig Sauer P320 Series 9mm pistol equipped with an optic and 2 additional 17-round magazines, a total of 51 possible rounds. Crucially, his mother has claimed that her son never carried his gun in day-to-day life despite having a permit, and that he always carried his wallet and government-issued ID. That means on this day he did 2 things he reportedly never did before. He carried his firearm, and he did not carry his wallet and or ID. A direct violation of Minnesota law, which requires both to be on one's person when carrying and to be disclosed to officers. These are not technical oversights. They matter precisely in volatile encounters with law enforcement and, in the frame of being made here, signal that this was not ordinary protest behavior, but a significant departure from his own patterns. He took position in the roadway. He directed traffic. He refused lawful orders. He physically intervened with an officer when pushed on another activist. He resisted arrest. During the ensuing struggle, officers observed his holstered weapon. An 8-year CBP veteran trained in firearms and non-lethal options concluded that his life or the lives of fellow officers were in danger and fired. State officials labeled the killing murder, but under Supreme Court precedent, the governing standard is not hindsight moralization. It is whether a reasonable officer in that moment could believe lethal force was necessary to prevent serious bodily harm or death. In such scenarios, the officer's on-scene judgment governs. On the facts as asserted, the shooting appears to have been lawful self-defense. At the time, critics dismissed the analyst and speculative. They insisted that Pretty was simply a protester caught in a tragic escalation. What we are learning now solidifies the earlier conclusions. Just days before his death, Pretty spoke with his parents about repairs to his garage door. He mentioned giving a Latino worker a $100 tip amid immigration tensions in Minnesota. His mother, Susan Pretty, said he was troubled by the direction of the U.S., particularly the President Trump administration's rollback of environmental regulations. She described him as an outdoorsman who took his dog everywhere and who hated seeing land trashed. His father, Michael Pretty, said his son cared deeply about people that were upset by what he viewed as ICE kidnapping and children grabbing people off the street. These statements matter, but not in the way often suggested. They show motivation, not restraint. They show moral intensity, not moderation. His parents acknowledged that he participated in protests and was concerned by immigration enforcement. More importantly, they warned him explicitly not to engage with officers. They feared he was too angry to control himself. 2 weeks before the incident, his father told him to protest, but not engage and not do anything stupid. Pretty responded that he knew this. He went anyways. He engaged anyway. Now we have access to Alex Pretty's signal messages. These messages, uncovered by the Oversight Project, radically undermine the protester narrative. They reveal an organized, disciplined communication environment designed to direct resources, track federal officers, and respond rapidly to enforcement activity. Let's see. His name, Alex Pretty, social media, creation date 2016, follower account 2, Twitter. At Friendship Coup, moving west on 38 to spot, will update. So he's given updates on there. The signal chat was marked leave chat, delete chat, anti-chat activists in this group directed resources to the location where Pretty was ultimately shot. Users in the chat identified ICE vehicles, tracked their movements, and requested support at specific intersections and businesses. Within the chat, the coordinators, such as user Salacious Bcrum, spotted and directed resources to thwart ICE enforcement. ICE vehicles were identified by make, color, and license plate. Their movements were updated in real time. Calls went out for backup. Observers reported on agent actions. This was not spontaneous outrage. It was coordinated activity. And by the way, they had no proof that these people were ICE agents. They were just writing down license plates of people who looked like they might be ICE agents. The Oversight Project identified a user named Albin Q as Alex Pretty. In the chat, Albin Q reported his movements, indicated proximity to enforcement locations, and volunteered to spot ICE vehicles. He stated he was moving west on 38 to observe an update, 15 minutes before the incident. Albin Q indicated he was near the location of the shooting and was actively texting about ICE movements. In the minutes leading up to the shooting, Salacious Bcrum directed others to the location with messages such as backup needed. One activist inside Glam Doll Donuts shared a video of the shop owners locking ICE out. One of the officers visible in that video, wearing a gray coat, appears to have been involved in the attempted arrest of Pretty. At 9:02 a.m. Central Standard Time, the signal chat first mentioned possible shots fired. After that moment, the user Alvin Q did not reappear in the chat. His prior emoji usage suggested a medical row. Then silence. These messages show something precise. They show real-time tactical coordination. They show tasking, movement, and response. They show a system designed to interfere with law enforcement operations as they unfolded. That system did not treat participants as mere demonstrators. It treated them as assets. To be clear, folks, we are not asserting with absolute certainty that Alex Pretty was the user Alvin Q, but the convergence of alias usage, location data, timing, and behavior makes the identification plausible. More importantly, even setting aside the alias question, the structure and function of the signal group demonstrates that ICE Watch was not a protest network. It was an operational network. A protester holds a sign. An operative holds a position. A protester chants. An operative spots, reports, and moves. A protester hopes to be seen. An operative hopes to be effective. Alex Pretty was effective. He showed up where he was directed. He inserted himself physically. He escalated. He did so while armed. He did so in defiance of his parents' warnings. He did so in coordination with others engaged in the same pattern of behavior. This does not require demonization. It requires clarity. Calling Pretty a protester is not charitable. It is misleading. It obscures the nature of his activity and the risk it creates, not only for officers, but for the participants themselves. When activists embed themselves into enforcement operations, when they track officers, when they intervene physically, when they resist arrest and while armed, the moral and legal terrain changes. The situation becomes one of imminent risk, not expressive dissent. Officers do not have the luxury of parsing motives or reviewing signal logs in real time. They respond to what they see, to what they reasonably perceive as a threat. This is why Supreme Court doctrine centers on the officer's judgment in the movement. It is why the fact narrates that ignore operational contexts are so dangerous. They invite repetition. The tragedy of Alex Pretty's death lies not in the protest gone wrong, but in a system that encouraged escalation while denying its own nature. ICE Watch trained participants to insert themselves into volatile situations. It normalized confrontation. It rewarded presence. It framed law enforcement as abductors and kidnappers. It treated interference as virtue. Pretty embraced that framework. He acted on it. And on that day, it led him into a fatal confrontation that his parents had explicitly warned him to avoid. If there is to be accountability, it should begin with honesty. The evidence no longer supports the protester story. It supports a harder conclusion that Alex Pretty was an active participant in a coordinated effort to obstruct federal law enforcement, and that his death occurred during that effort, not despite of it. Final note. Some readers, particularly strong supporters of the Second Amendment, have interpreted criticism of Alex Pretty carrying a pistol, additional magazines, and an optic as opposition to the right to bear arms. That interpretation is incorrect. I am strongly supportive of the right to keep and bear arms and of lawful carry wherever it is legal to do so. Nothing in this op-ed rejects that right. Nor is this an argument about whether Minnesota's requirement that a person carrying a firearm must also carry a permit and government-issued ID is wise or unwise policy. The point here is the contextual and factual. On the day in question, Alex Pretty broke the law, and he knew he was breaking it. That matters because intent matters. It is not inherently wrong to carry a firearm to a protest, but where the record shows an intent to disrupt law enforcement operations, to physically engage officers, and to insert oneself into an enforcement scene, carrying a firearm dramatically raises the risk of lethal outcomes. That risk materialized here. Every indictment of Pretty's action is easy and contextual rather than ideological. They are not judgments about the Second Amendment. They are efforts to understand why Alex did what he did and what he intended to do. The evidence includes the firearm, a gun his mother says he should have never carried, or he never carried in ordinary life. The evidence also includes the deliberate absence of his permit and ID, items she says he always carried. Taken together, those facts point away from peaceful protest and towards intentional participation in an act of domestic terror. There was no protest there. There was an effort to interfere with law enforcement, and the presence of a firearm in that context is part of the factual record that must be confronted. Guys, this is from Amuse. You guys see me post this stuff here all the time. He writes great articles. He does his research. He's just not right out there, out the gate, just posting stuff to get likes and clicks. If you're not supporting Amuse, at Amuse on X, you should be. All right, let's see. More of the story. Listen to your mama, says Gra. Sorry, I wanted to read that whole thing. I'm going to send it to him and see if he likes it the way I read it. Maybe he might start having me read his articles for him before he prints them. They had footage of the encounter the week before. Yeah, we've got that coming up, Gra. We got that coming up. Are those comments by his parents confirmed? His parents wrote a letter, Goofy. His parents wrote a letter about him. Let me see if we can find it. Let's see if we can find it. Letter. I don't know if they, or maybe it was a statement. Let's see. What else could they call it? Alex Pretty family statement. How about that? So this is from right here. We had the discussion with him 2 weeks ago or so. You know, go ahead and protest, but do not engage. Do not do anything stupid. And he said he knows that and he knew that. Let's see if we can see the whole entire thing. Here it is. We are heartbroken, but also very angry. Alex was a kind-hearted soul who cared deeply for his family and friends, and also the American veterans whom he cared for as an ICU nurse at the Minneapolis VA hospital. Alex wanted to make a difference in this world. Unfortunately, he did not, or he will not be with us to see his impact. I do not throw around hero term lightly, however, last thought and was to protect a woman. The sickening lies told about our son administration is reprehensible, disgusting. He had his phone in his right hand and empty his left hand. Okay, it doesn't say it here. But I know, I'm pretty sure it's confirmed, Goofy. Pretty sure. And no, I was not trying to make a pun there. I don't know. Do you guys like the way I read his articles? Do you think I should send that to him? What are you guys' thoughts and prayers? All right, now Cory Booker. Cory Booker tries to get Rubio.
Affirming here that these armed militias are running around suppressing voices. We have an administration that has said very clearly that they're not only going to be lifting temporary protective status for Venezuelans living in the U.S., but instead of protecting longtime American residents, they are, quote, the administration is putting people back on deportation flights and sending them into that madness. Does that make sense to you?
Well, first of all, the travel advisories for American citizens traveling there and the threats posed to Americans. What you're describing
why lift temporary protected status?
Well, the problem with temporary protective status was it was granted to so many people in such a vast numbers so quickly without proper vetting by the previous administration that there's a real concern that there were gang members that had received TPS simply because of the nation they came from and the time in which they came. It became so big and so massive. The overwhelming majority of Venezuelans are not members of Trained at Agua, but there were Trained at Agua and other criminal elements embedded in the TPS system. And the numbers were so large that the administration felt it had to cancel the program in order to appropriately vet it through on the individual cases.
Excuse me, Mr. Secretary, this might not surprise you. I don't trust this administration. And the way they use terms like terrorist, I've seen them calling American citizens domestic terrorists.
Because they are.
Who are people trying to peacefully protest. The problem...
Peacefully. Keyword, peacefully. They're not peacefully protesting, you jackass. Oh, that's what I need. I need that jackass. You know, let's watch this one. I gotta get the jackass from Caddyshack. You jackass.
Grave danger to the United States. Anyone who believes that gangs that flood our country with fentanyl or cocaine are not threats to the United States is not living in reality and certainly does not reflect the opinion of most Americans.
The president already said that he was ready to put American troops in Venezuela again. So we're internment law.
No, but we're talking about two separate things here. So you're talking about the state of Venezuela or are describing the regime. And we're talking about, but what the president designated.
Invoked the Alien Enemies Act.
I know, Senator, but let me be clear with you. No, but what the president was talking about are these gangs that have, and these narco trafficking groups that are waging war on the United States. There's no doubt. These groups have waged war on the United States. They have waged, for example, Trained at Agua is not just a criminal gang presence in our street. It is a criminal gang directly responsible for narco trafficking.
The Trump administration has acknowledged that the vast majority of the men it rounded up and deported to torture under this law had no criminal records whatsoever.
We didn't torture
anybody. Over 75%.
Who did we torture? We haven't tortured anybody. We've arrested people that are members of gangs and we've deported them. We don't want gang members in our country.
Have found that many of the men were here legally. If the administration is willing to lie about who it's targeting under this law, what protections do totally innocent people have against abuse? Again, I want to ask you, will you advise the president to rescind his invocation of the Wartime Alien Enemies Act?
No, of course not. I mean, these are people that are threats to the national security of the United States. But I've described this in hearings in the past, including
So you're saying that we're at war?
We are absolutely. When it comes to narco trafficking groups and criminal gangs that are targeting the United States for criminal
We're in a state of war.
Can I go up here, maybe?
There's no doubt about the fact that we're confronting them in a warlike setting because they're waging war on us.
And do the Geneva Convention
They're waging war against us and they're enemy combatants as a result of it. And the fact of the matter is that we are confronting these irregular groups, and that's one of the great challenges of the new century in this hemisphere in particular, is that these non-state actors who possess state-like capabilities in terms of their weaponry pose a grave danger to the United States. I don't think any American would dispute that we have cartels that pose a threat to the national security of the United States.
With all of the other laws of when it comes to warfare. I mean, you're saying that he can invoke this wartime power.
No, I'm saying, you're asking me, I'm here to discuss foreign policy and what's in the realm of the Department of State.
Well,
I think your questions are better directed to the Department of Justice.
Enemies Act,
but I would tell you that.
Which is a wartime, which is something that
but you're asking me a question
that can be invoked during wartime.
But you're
It's
asking
only
me a
been
question
invoked during the War of
that's
1812, World War I, and World War II.
You're
it's only been invoked 3 times, and this president is invoking it.
Okay, you're asking me a question about the domestic application of a law that's best directed to the Department of Justice.
No, it is
because you're asking me something to opine on something that's in the realm of the Department of Justice in terms of its domestic application. I can tell you that the United States is most certainly confronting terrorist and criminal organizations operating in our hemisphere that pose a grave danger to the United States. Anyone who believes that gangs that flood our country with fentanyl or cocaine are not threats to the United States is not living in reality and certainly does not reflect the opinion of most Americans.
The president already said that he was ready to put American troops in Venezuela again. So we're...
Shut the F up, right? I think it's the same clip. Yep, it is. Let's do this one. I hate liberals. I honestly, I think that I think our whole little I think the Civil War is coming. I do. All right, so the guy who attacked Ilhan Omar told his neighbor, "I might get arrested before the event." His name's Anthony blah blah blah. The neighbor says he was on heavy meds from a car crash and has Parkinson's at just age 55. Interesting. Very interesting. I definitely think it was a setup. I mean, it looks like it was fake. She nodded at the dude. She totally nodded at him.
Have been described as managing the president's Gaza plan. Meanwhile, Ambassador Barrack is leading on Syria policy, while Special Envoy Boulos is appearing to lead on our Africa policy. So I have to ask you, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you, are you the lead for U.S. government on foreign policy?
No, the lead on U.S. foreign policy is named Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States. On the individuals you've described, these are very valuable teams. We have an excellent, if I can answer, because I think it's important. It's a legitimate question. I have the distinction, but I think both the benefit of being the National Security Advisor and the Secretary of State. As National Security Advisor, my job is to coordinate the interagency function of national security, and that involves foreign policy. So I speak to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner in the case of Gaza, and now Russia, probably 10 times a day. We have multiple meetings and coordination. All of it is we build a team, we gather facts, we present options, and then we take them to the president.
Have been described as managing the president's Gaza plan.
There we go. Okay.
Meanwhile,
all right, sorry. I was doing a little adjusting. Every once in a while, I like to adjust some stuff around here. And I'm using this new program now, so we're still trying to get exactly how I like it. All right, the FBI has this is the good news here. The FBI has just executed a search warrant at the Fulton County, Georgia election headquarters. Pretty much ground zero for the voter fraud in the 2020 election. Now, Graz already stated he doesn't think anybody's going to get arrested from it. What do you guys think? Do you think something's going to happen here? What do you think? I also agree nobody's going to get arrested, but hopefully at least we might be able to shed some light on this. I don't know. My hopes aren't high. And now they found out, so it was cider vinegar, apple cider vinegar. Turns out the liquid was just apple cider vinegar, basically salad dressing. No injuries, no chemical burns, nothing serious. Omar kept right on speaking after it happened. And you know what? Like I said, the guy didn't get her in the face. If you hated Ilhan Omar that much and you wanted to do this, right? You'd get her in the face. You would use something worse than apple cider vinegar. It all just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't anymore. All right, so the Department of Justice announces 16 arrests of the far right people who were trying to riot at a hotel the other night.
Notably, in the protest at a church in St. Paul just a couple of weeks ago that shut down that worship service, 3 people have been charged, and we know DOJ is actively trying to bring charges against a handful of others in that case. Despite all of that, protests here are not slowing down as the calls to hold those officers responsible for the shooting of Renee Good and Alex Preddy to be held accountable. Sandra?
All right. Garrett Tenney on that for us. Garrett, thank you very much.
Yeah, Goofy, I would think so too, because you don't know what they just threw at you. You really don't know what they just threw at you. So that does make a lot of sense. But Ilhan Omar said, no, I wanted to prove to everybody that I ain't taking this stuff. Or she said, fuck, I think is what she said. I ain't fucking taking this. This appears to be the incident that resulted in Pretty's broken rib. BBC also announced this. Let's watch this clip here. And it looks like him.
This is a moment the news movement filmed on January 13th in Minneapolis, showing a man who appears to be Alex Preddy interacting with federal immigration agents 11 days before Border Patrol shot and killed him. Our footage was analyzed by the BBC, whose facial recognition technology confirmed his identity to a 97% degree of accuracy. On the morning of January 13th, our team received a tip that federal agents were blocking a street at the corner of East 36th and Park Avenue in Minneapolis. We arrived around 10:15 a.m. We saw observers shouting at the agents as they walked back to their vehicles. When they started driving away, the man kicked their taillight. An agent then got out of the vehicle, grabbed him, and pushed.
Same thing that happened the week later,
During
right?
the altercation, agents fired tear gas and pepper balls into the crowd. They continued to hold the man down before they retreat and he walks away. The man in our footage is wearing a similar outfit to what Preddy was wearing on the day he was killed.
Oh my
What
gosh,
appears to be a gun
screaming
is
from that
also
lady.
visible above his waistband.
Did he just say a gun was visible on his waistband? Hold on.
Before they retreat and he walks away. The man in our footage is wearing a similar outfit to what Preddy was wearing on the day he was killed. What appears to be a gun.
Oh shit, it does appear to be a gun. Do you see that right there? Hold on. Let me see if I can stop it at the right time. Gosh darn it. Look at that right there. But they said he didn't have a gun that day. I don't know.
Gun is also visible above his waistband.
I don't know. There's something above his waistband. I don't know what it is exactly, though. Right, Goofy? And that's the issue. Every time they don't arrest somebody like this, that just gives them more reason to come back. It just gives them more reason. Well, they didn't arrest me last time. I'm gonna go even worse this time.
Here, he continues to stand at the scene. On the day he was killed, the Department of Homeland Security claims Preddy, a 37-year-old ICU nurse, approached officers holding a handgun. That claim has been contradicted by analysis of bystander videos from multiple news investigations, which concluded that Preddy was holding a phone, not a gun, when he was pinned to the street.
That's true, Goofy. That's true.
Shortly after the altercation we filmed here on January 13th, federal agents drove away. Soon after that, we left the scene.
Interesting. Very interesting. Oh, wait, never mind. We already saw that. We already saw that one. Our political violence Najra Ahmed has been arrested after attacking federal officers at an Islamic community center. She's the activist behind the viral bananas and rice speech about divided Somali and American loyalty. Wouldn't attacking federal property bring federal charges like Jan? It would, but the Republicans are bitches. All right. So this lady spoke the other day, and now she got arrested. Let's see what this is.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see, like, you know, it's you know, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but That's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're going to get what.
It sounds actually kind of good. But anyway, so this is the woman, and then she gets arrested for protesting here. There she is right there getting arrested for protesting. She gets arrested for protesting. All right, so Democrat candidate for California's 41st district allegedly caught on video assaulting someone at an LA protest. Shanique Williams is eyeing a congressional seat. So this woman's going for a congressional seat while allegedly throwing hands at protests. Let's see.
What we on? Hey, what we on? Can I get some help? What we on? What we on? What are we on? What are we on? What are we on? What we on? You on that? Are you with that? Are you with it? Bitch.
Just a typical person, I
Can I get some help? What we on?
You're getting in my way.
You're in my fucking way.
This is what you guys do?
Kamala speechwriter there, she spat on a federal officer.
What are we doing?
What are you guys doing?
What are we doing?
What are you guys
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Get out of my face.
What are we doing?
I don't want you.
What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing for real?
Yeah, these are the people we want in Congress, right?
What we doing? What we doing? What we doing? You with that? Because I'm with it.
She's like, oh, I'm going to be the next Jasmine Crockett, except I'm really going to fight.
You with it? You with it? What are we doing? What we doing? What are we doing? What we doing? What we doing? What we doing? Walk that shit down, bitch. Walk down, bitch. Walk down, bitch. What we on?
Interesting, Lauren. Thank you.
What we on? What we on? What we on? What we on? What we on?
Hey, what we on? Can I get some help?
What we on? What we on? What are we on? What are we on? What are we on? What we on? You on that? Are you with that? Are you with it? Bitch!
Hey, Panda. This woman's a psychopath. She wants to be the next Jasmine Crockett. She wants to be the next Jasmine Crockett. She's a civil rights leader and progressive Democrat for Congress in California, 41, imprisoned. Oh my goodness. I hope she doesn't win. I hope she doesn't win. I don't think she got arrested. I don't think she got arrested right there. Holy crap. Fulton County, Georgia Commissioner Dana Barrett is frantic after the FBI raided an elections office. Let's see what's going on here.
What you're doing is extremely dangerous.
Why is it dangerous?
Because you're spreading conspiracy theories.
It's not a conspiracy theory. Do you have $45? I'm not undermining. I'm not saying people are voting there. Ma'am, I'm not saying that people are voting there. I'm not saying people are voting there. I'm saying people are currently registered to vote there. We went around Fulton County the last few weeks and we see that people are currently registered to vote in places like empty lots, homeless shelters that closed 10 years ago. What would you do if you become Secretary of State to address that?
I'm not going to reply to conspiracy theories.
It's not conspiracy. It's a current. You can currently go on the voter rolls, purchase them for $45, and go there with us. We will gladly take you if you want to go to.
I appreciate what you're saying. I'm not going to respond to conspiracy theories.
How is that a conspiracy theory? It's an act of voter rolls.
Who got arrested
If
today?
you're going to be running for Secretary of State, you're in charge of maintaining the voter rolls. Don't you care about if people are registered to vote from empty lots?
Questions. I appreciate it. I've got to.
Do you think it's a conspiracy theory that people are registered to vote from empty lots, though? Well, I have the ability to go wherever I want to. People are currently registered to vote in empty lots, Commissioner. And if you're going to run for Secretary of State, aren't you going to at least take a look at that? It took me $45 to purchase the voter rolls. You can do that as well for the Fulton County. You can see that people are registered to vote from empty lots. They're registered to vote at a MARTA bus station. Are you not going to do anything about that? You're just going to call that conspiracy theories again? We have exact addresses that you can go to right now. 205 Elm Street Northwest. It's an empty lot.
Dude,
you can go there right now and see for yourself. You not care about that? You're an elected official and you don't want to address that?
Oh, gotcha.
Commissioner, if you're going to be running for Secretary of State and that involves maintaining clean voter rolls, in one of the most important counties, I would say, in the United States.
I think what you're doing is extremely dangerous.
Why is it dangerous?
Because you're spreading conspiracy theories.
It's not a conspiracy theory. Do you have $45? I'm not undermining. I'm not saying people are voting there. Ma'am, I'm not saying that people are voting there. I'm not saying people are voting there. I'm saying people are currently registered to vote there. Jason, right? People are currently registered to vote there. We're not saying people are voting there, Commissioner. We're saying clean the rolls. Jason, so she said that it's a conspiracy theory. Let me actually.
Conspiracy theory, my ass. All right. Let's go here. And then it's the last one. And then we're gonna raid somebody here in a minute. So Tim Walz just blamed President Trump for Ilhan Omar being sprayed. Of course he did.
Do you blame President Trump for what this attack on Representative Omar?
Well, certainly, it's the tone that's in this country. This has all been said. I think it goes back years of this type of political rhetoric. I can't specifically, and I know the subject. I talked to the representative last night. She was good. But this is the thing that there's no tone. And I said that the president constantly attacks Representative Omar, attacks her citizenship, attacks the very decency of it, and we've asked him time and time again to stop it. I don't believe he's capable of stopping it. I keep coming back to this. The decency of the American people is going to have to speak up, because even in any small thing he puts on social media, he finds a way to attack her. I'm glad she's safe. Appreciate it.
Do you have any idea what the substance was?
I do not. She said that they on site tested it, and I didn't get anything more. But she was.
It was apple cider vinegar.
I think you saw her resiliency.
Anyways, all right, guys. That's all the news I have for you tonight. But in 2 hours, in a little over 2 hours, we're gonna do documentary night today at 9 p.m. Pacific time. We're gonna do some documentaries on some engineering stuff today. So come on back. But right now, we're gonna send you over to Rotella Streams, which is a buddy of mine. And so here we go. Thanks for being here, Lauren. Thanks for being here, everybody else. And go check out Rotella Streams. They're a pretty cool group of people. I'm gonna send you guys there right now. Confirm raid. And then we're gonna go live. Invite back.